They told you Scorpio is passionate, jealous, and dangerous. That is the kindergarten version. The real Scorpio is the only sign in the zodiac that dies and comes back to life, not metaphorically, energetically. While every other sign is trying to improve their personality, Scorpio is burning theirs to the ground and rebuilding from ashes. 3 totemic animals, 3 levels of power. A system of transformation that was hidden inside temple astrology for thousands of years and has nothing to do with what you read in horoscope apps. Today you will learn what Scorpio actually is, the real contract behind this sign, why Scorpios remember every betrayal for decades, and how that memory is both their greatest poison and their greatest weapon. The 3 stages every Scorpio must pass through: serpent, eagle, phoenix, and how to know which one you are right now, and the exact money pattern that makes Scorpios either magnets for wealth or prisoners of financial fear. If you are a Scorpio, this video will explain things about yourself you have never heard before. If someone you love is a Scorpio, this is the manual you were never given. The system. In esoteric astrology, your zodiac sign is not a personality description. It is a contract your soul signed before birth. Your sun sign is your past, tools from previous lives. Your ascendant is your mission, what you must become. Every sign operates on 2 levels, the version that destroys you and the version that makes you unstoppable. Full explanation of this system, link in the description. Now, let us open the Scorpio contract, and it is the heaviest one in the zodiac. But first, an important distinction. What you are about to hear works differently depending on where Scorpio sits in your chart. Scorpio as sun and Scorpio as ascendant. If Scorpio is your sun sign, meaning you were born during Scorpio season, then everything we are about to discuss, the people scanner, the magic of transformation, the memory, the intensity, this is your backpack. Tools that are already there. Your soul already knows how to do this. It developed depth in past lives. You do not need to learn to be deep. You are already deep. You do not need to learn to see truth. You already see it. The question is different. On which octave are you using these tools? Because the people scanner on the lower octave is manipulation. On the higher octave, it is healing. Transformation on the lower octave is destruction for destruction's sake. On the higher octave, it is clearing the ground for something new. The tools are the same. The frequency is different. Your task as a Sun Scorpio is to raise these tools to the higher octave. Not discard them, not suppress them, raise them. And there is a trap. The Sun is your comfort zone. And the comfort zone of Scorpio is intensity, drama, crisis. You can spend your entire life moving from one crisis to the next and feel in your element. But if your ascendant is a different sign, then your mission is not in crisis. Crisis is your tool. The mission is in whichever sign sits on your ascendant. Now a completely different story. If Scorpio is your ascendant, then everything we are about to discuss is not what you already know how to do. It is what you are obligated to learn in this lifetime. And this is frightening, truly frightening. Because ascendant Scorpio means your soul chose to learn depth, to learn transformation, to learn to pass through death and return. But your sun, a different sign, pulls you back into the comfort zone, into what is familiar, into the place where you do not need to descend to the bottom. A person with sun in Gemini and ascendant in Scorpio, their soul already knows how to communicate, to learn, to gather information. That is their backpack. But in this life, their task is to stop skimming the surface and descend into depth. To learn to feel for real. Not analyze feelings, live them. For them, this is like descending into a dark well. Frightening, unfamiliar, but that is exactly where their mission lies. A person with sun in Leo and ascendant in Scorpio. They already know how to shine, to be the center, to radiate. But their task is to learn invisible power. The kind that does not need applause. Power that works in the dark. For Leo, this is like extinguishing your own light and discovering that in the darkness there is another light, deeper, quieter, more powerful. So, as you listen to this breakdown, keep in mind, Scorpio as sun is what you already know. Scorpio as ascendant is where you are going. And the second is always harder than the first. If you do not know your ascendant, I will tell you at the end how to find out. Now, we enter the sign. The Scorpio backpack, what you already know. In esoteric astrology, Scorpio is not simply passion and jealousy. Scorpio is a laboratory of death and resurrection. The only sign in the zodiac that ancient traditions called the gates. Gates through which the soul enters and exits as someone entirely different. First, the people scanner. You see what people hide, always, even when they themselves do not know it. This is not a skill you learned. This is the way your eyes are built. You read a person in 30 seconds, not by their words, by their energy, by what they do not say, by the pause between sentences, by the glance that slides away for half a second. People think they can hide from you. From Scorpio, they cannot. You are a walking lie detector, and you were born with it. This is why people feel exposed around you. They do not understand why. They simply feel seen, through and through. They adjust their posture. They change the tone of their voice. They do not know why. They just feel that something in you reaches past the surface and touches what lies underneath. Some find this terrifying. They avoid you.
Others find it magnetic. They cannot stay away. Because in a world where everyone is hiding, a person who sees truth is the most frightening and the most magnetic thing there is. Second, the ability to transform completely. Where other signs need years of therapy to change a single habit, you need one decision. You decide, and within a month, you are a different person. Not gradually, not step by step, radically, completely. As if the old version died and a new one was born, because that is exactly what happened. Other signs repair themselves. You rebuild yourself from the foundation. Third, the magnetism. People are drawn to you, not because you are fun or easy to be around. You are neither. Because you have depth, and depth in this world is rare. People feel it. They cannot explain it. They simply want to be near it. In a world where everyone skims the surface, a person with real depth is like a well in the desert. Fourth, the death vision. You see what must die and what must be born. In a situation, in a person, in a relationship, in a business. You see which part is already dead, but the person is still holding on. And you see what could grow in its place, if they would just let go. This is why Scorpios are the best crisis managers in the zodiac. Where others panic, you grow calm. Where others run, you step closer, because crisis is your natural habitat. The shadow of Scorpio: memory, control, and poison. Now, the shadow side. And with Scorpio, the shadow is the deepest in the zodiac. You remember everything. Every insult, every betrayal, every word that cut, every person who chose someone else, every moment when you were vulnerable and it was used against you. Other signs forget in a week. You remember in 10 years, just as vividly, just as painfully, as if it happened yesterday. Your memory is a vault. Nothing gets lost, nothing fades, nothing softens with time. And your memory is poison that accumulates inside. Not because remembering is bad, but because of what you do with it. You replay the scene again and again. You rehearse what you should have said. You imagine what you would do differently. You feed the wound instead of healing it. You are drinking poison every day, hoping the other person will die from it. But they are long gone. They forgot. They are living their life, and you are here, burning in a memory they do not even remember creating. From this memory, jealousy is born. Not the surface kind, existential. The fear that you will be replaced, that someone will betray you, that someone will leave. This fear lives in the basement of every Scorpio, even those who seem cold, especially those who seem cold, because the coldness is the wall, and behind the wall, the fear. And to prevent this fear from becoming reality, you control, total control, invisible control. You test people for loyalty. You provoke to see if they will fight for you. You withdraw to see if they will come looking. And if someone fails the test, you cut them off without a second chance. Not from cruelty, from fear of being vulnerable. Because every time you were vulnerable, it was used against you. And the inability to let go. You hold things with a death grip, a grudge, a person, a memory. Not because you love it, because letting go means losing control, and losing control, for Scorpio, feels like dying. But what you are holding is already dead, and you are keeping a corpse alive with your grip. Memory, jealousy, control, the inability to let go. This is one chain, one serpent biting its own tail, and the way out of this circle is not forgetting. Scorpios cannot forget. That is not how you are built. The way out is reframing. Forgiveness for Scorpio is not, I forgive you, everything is fine. That is for other signs. Forgiveness for Scorpio is, I take my energy back. As long as you hold the grudge, your energy is with the person who hurt you. They are carrying a piece of you, and they do not even know it.
You're feeding them with your attention, your anger, your pain, every day. Forgiveness is cutting that cord. Not for them, for you. You are not giving them a gift. You are taking back what is yours. Element, cross, and rulers. So why are you like this? Why do you see through people? Why do you remember everything? Why do you feel at a depth that other signs cannot even imagine? Your element is water, depth and transformation. But not the calm lake of Cancer, not the boundless ocean of Pisces. Your water is the underground river, invisible, powerful. It does not crash against rocks, it carves through them. Not with the force of impact, but with the persistence of centuries. You do not live on the surface, you live at the bottom. Your food is depth. You need truth, real truth, the kind people usually hide. Water always finds the deepest, most hidden point. That is where you naturally go. In esoteric astrology, all 12 signs are divided into 3 crosses. Cardinal, the initiators; mutable, the adapters; and fixed, the holders. Scorpio stands on the fixed cross, together with Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius. Fixed energy does not bend, does not waver, does not compromise. It locks in and holds until the end. This is why you cannot let go. This is why you hold grudges for decades. This is why when you love with your entire being, and when you hate, the hatred is equally total. There is no middle setting, only full power or off. The fixed cross is the cross of power. And the lesson of every fixed sign is the same: learning when to hold and when to release. Taurus holds material things. Leo holds identity. Aquarius holds ideas. Scorpio holds emotions. And your entire evolution, serpent, eagle, phoenix, is essentially this: learning to release what your fixed nature wants to grip forever. Now, the rulers. And here begins what pop astrology never mentions. Scorpio has not two, but three rulers. Each sign has three levels of planetary rulership: exoteric, esoteric, and hierarchical. The ruler changes as the soul evolves. The exoteric ruler is Mars, the ruler of the sleeping Scorpio: passion, instinct, aggression. The Mars that wakes you at 3 in the morning with fantasies of revenge. Raw, unprocessed. A weapon without a target, so it fires at you. This is why Scorpio's battles are invisible. Others see a calm person. They have no idea a war is raging behind your eyes. The esoteric ruler is also Mars, but an entirely different Mars. Mars as the warrior of the spirit. Not the one who fights others, the one who fights the ego. We will return to this later. It changes everything. The hierarchical ruler is Pluto. In ordinary astrology, Pluto is considered the co-ruler of Scorpio. But in the esoteric system, Pluto sits at the very top, the highest level. The planet of total destruction and total transformation. Where Mars wants to defeat someone, Pluto wants to destroy the entire system and create another. This is what frightens people around you. Not Scorpio itself, but the depth of transformation that Scorpio is capable of. The myth of Selket. In ancient Egypt, Scorpio was linked to the goddess Selket, protector of the dead and healer of poisons. The same goddess, the same force, the same power that kills, resurrects. The serpent crawls along the ground, bites, acts from fear and pain. The eagle soars above the clouds, takes the same energy, and transforms it into power. You carry both the poison and the cure in the same body, in the same hands. And the only question of your life is which one you choose to use. A Scorpio using poison destroys everything they touch, including themselves. A Scorpio using medicine heals everything they touch, including themselves. Same person, same energy, different choice. 3 levels of development. Only this sign has 3 totemic animals. 3 stages you are obligated to pass through. No other sign has this.
Every other sign has a spectrum from lower to higher. Scorpio has a staircase, 3 floors, and on each floor, an entirely different being. The scorpion, the earthly creature, crawling on the ground. If touched, it stings. Vengeful, venomous, jealous. I will sting you even if it kills me. The lowest magic of destruction. The serpent Scorpio attracts drama like a magnet, not because they are unlucky, but because they unconsciously create it. They need intensity. Without it, they feel dead. How to know if you are here? You react to pain automatically. Someone hurts you, you strike back. No pause, no choice, pure reflex. The same type of conflict over and over. Different people, same pain. The eagle, the aerial predator. You no longer crawl, you fly. You look at the world from above. You see the essence of things, X-ray vision. You are noble, but you still use your power for control. Not from cruelty, from habit. The eagle has a loneliness. You fly alone. No one has full access. And that distance prevents the one thing your soul craves, true intimacy. The kind where you are seen completely and loved anyway. How to know if you are here? You see people clearly and use that sight, sometimes to help, sometimes to steer. You are wise, but not yet free. The phoenix, the firebird, the highest stage. You burned completely. Everything you held on to, gone. Every identity you built, ash. Every relationship you gripped, released. Everything you thought you needed, taken. And from that ash, you rose. Different, luminous. Quiet with a quietness that has nothing to do with silence and everything to do with peace. You no longer need control because you no longer fear. You no longer need revenge because nothing can be taken from you. You no longer need to prove because your presence is the proof. You possess the gift of healing. You can bring people back to life simply by being in the room, because you have been through death, and you know the way back.
You are the guide, the one who walks others through their darkest night, because you have already walked through yours. How to know if you are here? People feel different after being with you. Lighter, clearer, as if something that was stuck moved. And you did nothing visible. You were simply there. Most Scorpios live between the serpent and the eagle. The work is not to be the phoenix all the time. The work is to catch the serpent faster, to choose the eagle consciously, and to touch the phoenix often enough that it becomes familiar. One action for your level. Now something concrete. One action, not 10. One. On the floor where you are right now. If you are the serpent, this week, catch the moment of reaction. Someone stings you. The poison rises inside. You want to strike. Do not strike. Do not suppress it either. Simply notice. Say to yourself, I see the poison. Do not fight it. Name it. This is the first step out of the swamp. The serpent sleeps. Your task is to wake up for even 1 second. 1 second of awareness, and you are already closer to the eagle than you were yesterday. If you are the eagle, you already see. You already control. Your practice is different. This week, show one person the floor you never show anyone. Say one thing you normally hide. Not weakness on display, honesty, because the eagle flies alone. And your path to the phoenix is not through more control. It is through vulnerability, through releasing. If you are touching the phoenix, you already know what to do. Your practice is to heal someone this week, not with technique, with presence. Simply be near a person who is going through their own dark night. Do not advise, do not fix. Be. That is the magic of the phoenix. Healing without action. Write in the comments what from this video hit closest to home. The memory, the control, the inability to let go, or something about yourself you did not know before this video. I want to know. The magical dossier. Forget the stereotype of the vengeful, obsessive. In the highest magic, Scorpio is the sign of initiation. Not figuratively, literally. In ancient mysteries, there were rites through which a person entered as one being and exited as another. This is not a metaphor. This is an energetic process. A part of the person died, and from what remained, a mage was born. Scorpio is the sign where this process happens. Not in a temple, in life. Have you noticed that people confess things to you? Things they have never told anyone? You sit down with someone for coffee, and 30 minutes later they are telling you about their childhood trauma, their secret affair, that they hate their life. You did not ask, you did not push, they simply opened. As if something in your presence gave them permission to stop pretending. This is not coincidence. This is the 8th house at work. Scorpio rules the 8th house. Death, other people's money, magic, sex, everything that society hides. Everything that is not spoken aloud, everything that terrifies other signs. Scorpio governs. You are the priest that people did not know they needed, the therapist without a degree, the safe in which others store their darkest truths. This is not a role you chose, it chose you. And it has been happening your entire life. Strangers tell you things they have never told their husbands or wives, because they feel you will not judge. You have already seen the darkness, yours and theirs, and you did not turn away. Now think about what you do with pain. Other signs run from it. They distract, they numb, they scroll, they drink. You sit with it. You go into it, you let it burn. And somewhere in that burning, you find something. A truth, a clarity, a power that was hidden inside the pain like a diamond inside coal. In magical terms, this is the principle of nuclear fission. You take the densest, heaviest, darkest energy, fear, grief, rage, shame, and you crack the atom open.
You split it apart, and from that splitting, enormous power is released. The same principle that powers the sun, the same principle that powers you. Your magical essence is the phoenix. All other signs fear pain and crisis. Scorpio feeds on them. You take the dirtiest, heaviest, most terrifying energy and burn it in the furnace of your heart, producing pure power on the other side. You are the crisis manager of God. You are sent where everything has rotted, where the structure has collapsed, where other signs turn away because they cannot bear the smell of decay. You walk in. You assess what is dead. You remove it. And you clear the ground so something new can grow. Nothing new can grow in soil that is full of corpses. Someone has to do the clearing. Someone has to look in the face of what everyone else turns away from. That someone is always Scorpio. And here is what most astrologers will never tell you. In esoteric astrology, Scorpio is governed by the fourth ray, the ray of harmony through conflict. Harmony through conflict. Not harmony instead of conflict. Not harmony after conflict. Harmony that is born directly from the conflict itself. They are inseparable. This is why your life is a battlefield. Not because you are cursed, because harmony, real harmony, not the surface kind, can only be forged in fire, and Scorpio is the furnace. Every crisis makes you more whole. Every conflict you face honestly brings you closer to inner peace. This is the fourth ray in action. Conflict is not the obstacle to your growth. Conflict is the mechanism. The secret ruler. Esoteric Mars. You already know that Scorpio has 3 rulers. Exoteric Mars, the sleeping warrior. Hierarchical Pluto, the highest point. But between them, esoteric Mars. And this is the one that changes everything. What is the difference from Aries? In Aries, Mars wages war against external enemies. It charges. It conquers. It wins battles that everyone can see. In Scorpio, Mars wages war against the internal dragon. Pride, fear, desire, the ego itself. This is a sword turned inward, not at enemies, at the false self, at every illusion you have built about who you are. The highest magic of Scorpio is the killing of the ego. You are the warrior who went into battle not against a neighbor, but against your own shadow. This is the magic of self-mastery. No one commands themselves like a high-level Scorpio. On the outside, ice. On the inside, a volcano. But the ice does not crack. Not because you suppress the volcano, because you have learned to channel it through the eye of a needle. Your gaze can stop a wild animal, not because you are frightening, because you are absolutely still. And that stillness is more powerful than any scream. And when Scorpio reaches the hierarchical level, rulership passes to Pluto. This is the soul that has completed the battle. The ego is dead. What remains is pure, transformative power, no longer personal, but universal. The phoenix who heals not for themselves, but for all. The myth of Hercules and the Hydra. This is the key myth for understanding your magic. Hercules had to defeat the Lernaean Hydra, a many-headed monster living in a swamp. If you cut off the heads, fight problems with force, new ones grow. The harder you strike, the worse it gets. The more furiously you fight, the more heads appear. Every Scorpio knows this feeling. The more you push against a problem, the bigger it becomes. Resentment, you try to destroy it with anger, it doubles. Jealousy, you try to suppress it with willpower, it triples. Pain, you try to drown it with intensity, it quadruples. This is the Hydra, and brute force does not work. Your secret. Hercules lifted the Hydra into the air, into the sunlight, and it suffocated. It could only live in the dark swamp. In the light, it died.
The Hydra is your subconscious demons.
As long as you are digging in the mud, settling scores, taking revenge, controlling, the demons win. They live in darkness. They feed on your unconscious reactions. The moment you lift the problem to the level of spirit, of light, of awareness, the problem dies on its own. Here is how this works in practice. You are obsessing over a betrayal. You replay it at night. You rehearse revenge. That is the swamp. The Hydra is growing heads. Instead of fighting, you stop. You look directly, not with anger, with awareness. You ask, what is this really about? Not on the surface, truly. And you discover it is not about them. It is about your fear of being unworthy. Your fear that if someone could betray you, perhaps you deserved it. That is the root. The one head that matters. And the moment you see it clearly, it loses its power. What is seen cannot control you the way what is hidden can. You are not a fighter. You are an exercise.